Getting shredded cost me my identity. I lifted for 10 years and still looked like I didn't train. 5-6 days a week, tracked all my sets and reps, chased progression each session, trained to failure and beyond. Took every supplement in the market. I followed my program precisely. And after a decade, I had nothing to show for it. Higher body fat, soft, fluffy, same reflection staring back at me. 10 years and people still couldn't tell I trained. Not because the program was wrong, not because my genetics were bad. Because I was two people and one of them kept destroying the other's work. I was chasing validation sober and poisoning myself drunk. Training like a man possessed at 6 a.m. and buying rounds of tequila at midnight. Obsessing over protein timing, then flooding my systems with kebab at 2 a.m. I wanted the body of a disciplined man while living the life of someone who needed to escape every weekend. The body I wanted required an identity I wasn't willing to become. Getting shredded didn't cost me calories or comfort. It cost me who I was. 3 versions of me had to die before the body could follow. And if you've been training for years with nothing to show, the same is true for you. This isn't about discipline, it's about death. Then we had a compulsory team photo shoot for all the personal trainers to be an example and practice what we preach. I finally had stakes high enough to confront these identity contradictions. 12 weeks, non-negotiable deadline, my career as a personal trainer on the line. No more negotiating, no more balance, no more excuses. I didn't want to be the only trainer who couldn't get lean. There was a competitive energy between us, and I refused to be the one who couldn't walk the talk. I stopped drinking, stopped staying out late, stopped seeing people who pulled me off course. Stopped saying yes to every invite. I stopped being the version of me that everyone was comfortable with. I forced myself to cook. I measured everything that went through my lips. I ran outside in the freezing cold, said no to people who expected the old me to show up. Most of them stopped calling. My social life ended. I lost the fun version of myself. Finally, I got the body I chased for a decade. But here's what I didn't expect. The body wasn't the transformation. The real work wasn't in the gym. It was killing these 3 identities that was running my entire 20s. And I finally felt proud. The 3 identities you must kill to transform your physique and your life. What follows is a framework. These are not metaphors, they are patterns, beliefs, ways of operating that feels like you, but are actual obstacles. Each one has the behaviors, how it shows up, the belief keeping it alive, the lie it tells, the cost of keeping it and why it has to die, the new identity and what replaces it. If you're frustrated by the gap between your effort and your results, you'll relate to what's next. Identity killed 1, the validation addict. How it shows up? The validation addict trains for the approval of others. His entire confidence in existence hide behind the superficial aesthetics of the body. I am very familiar with this version of myself. The problem is that if you're improving yourself physically for attention and neediness, you won't last long. Motivation is conditional. This is why you get lean for the wedding and soft for the anniversary. Why the revenge body disappears when the ex stops watching. Why the January transformation never survives February. When the reason is external, attention, validation, ego, the commitment has an expiry date. The moment the external thing disappears, so does the discipline. Every rep in the gym is for external approval, and it goes beyond the gym. Saying yes to every invite, responding to every message, showing up for people who wouldn't be there at your funeral, fearing disapproval for those who don't matter, complying with obligations you hate, avoiding confrontation at all costs. The validation addict has outsourced his worth. His self-esteem is a stock price, rising and falling, based on external metrics he can't control. I spent years chasing approval from women because of what happened to me as a teenager. Every relationship was an attempt to prove that I was finally enough. Every physique goal was secretly about making sure no one could ever discard me again. The origin wound. I was 18, skinny. The kind of skinny where your arms look like excuses. My girlfriend was sending naked photos to another guy. Jacked, shredded, everything I wasn't. When I found out I didn't stay quiet, I confronted her. I asked her questions I didn't want answers to. She didn't apologize, she left. I wasn't even worth an argument. Just replaced, discarded, ordinary. The lesson my young, naive brain wrote that day. Your body failed you. You were never enough. Become undeniable so this never happens again. This belief started my obsession with bodybuilding and aesthetics. I was a vain teenager that wanted attention. Every rep was a response to the pain of rejection. Every set was proof I wasn't that skinny kid anymore. I thought if I got big enough, lean enough, jacked enough, I'd never feel that shame again. But I was building a body on broken foundation. Years later, I was still trying to prove that I was enough. Still chasing validation from women who didn't care. Still believing my worth came from their approval. That teenager was still running my life. The lie that validation tells. Your worth is determined by how others perceive you. The lie says approval equals safety. Consensus equals truth. If enough people like you, you must be doing something right. Evolution hardwired this into you. Rejection from the tribe once meant death. No protection, no resources, no survival. Your brain still treats social disapproval like a predator. It can't tell the difference between being excluded and being eaten. But we don't live in tribes anymore. The threat is fake. You're running ancient software in a world that's moved on. The lie convinces you that living for others is noble. It's not. It's cowardice dressed as kindness. So why it has to die? Because you'll never outtrain their indifference. The people whose approval you're chasing are not thinking of you. They're busy chasing their own validation. And even when you get their approval, the compliment, the looks, the attention, it fades in seconds. You're handing strangers the keys to your self-worth and wondering why you feel out of control. Social media has weaponized this. Variable reward schedules, likes, comments, notifications, addiction slot machines, gym selfies on your story, checking the views, refreshing, waiting for that one name to appear. The dopamine hit is real but brief. You need constant replenishment. The validation addict stays compliant, controllable, average. He has to die because he's keeping you dependent on something you can't control. So what replaces it? Self-generated value. Here's what shifts. When you start eating with precision, training with intent, and showing up when you don't feel like it, you notice something uncomfortable. Most people will never do this. Not because they can't, because they won't. The people whose approval you've been chasing, they'll start a diet on Monday and quit by Friday. Join the gym in January, ghost it by March. Talk about getting in shape for years and never once pushed through when it got hard. The pedestal disappears. You realize you've been handing your approval button to people who are unwilling to work as hard as you. Why would their opinion matter? They refuse to improve themselves. Yet you give them the power to shift your mood and make decisions. I was 8 weeks into a cut, passing a mirror, when my brain caught up to what my habits had already built. The visual confirmation triggered a quiet dopamine release. Not from validation, but from resolution. Effort matched outcome. Prediction met reality. The reward came from inside the loop, not outside. I didn't think about sharing it. I thought, I did this, and my body knew it was true. Self-worth builds from the quiet knowledge that you've done something most people won't. Alex Hormozi summarizes this perfectly. We don't rise to the standards we have when others are watching. We fall to the standards we have when no one is. Which leads me to Identity Kill 2, the escape artist. How it shows up. The escape artist treats weekends like a controlled demolition of everything he built Monday through Friday. He's not an alcoholic, he's social. The butterfly everyone loves being around. So remember the pattern I described earlier. Training at 6 a.m, drinking by 9 p.m, kebabs at 2 a.m. Hungover Sunday completely written off. That wasn't random chaos. That was the escape artist. The drinking is not random, it's ritualistic. Friday's non-negotiable, Saturday's expected. The occasional Wednesday because it's someone's birthday or the group chat said so. The escape artist has a library of permission slips. I've been disciplined all week. One night won't kill the hard work. YOLO, work hard, play harder. Every phrase is a negotiation, a contract signed knowing it will be broken. So the lie it tells, this is balance, work hard, play hard. You're not one of those boring obsessive fitness guys. You know how to have fun. You know the truth. You're not letting loose. You're running. The drinking isn't celebration. It's anesthesia. You're numbing something you don't want to feel. Boredom, emptiness. The creeping suspicion that your weekday discipline is just a distraction from the life that doesn't fulfill you. I was running from emptiness. The realization that my life, despite looking good on social media, looking good on paper, felt hollow. The job was fine, the body was fine, the social life was fine, everything was fine. Fine felt like I was dying inside. The drinking wasn't the problem, the drinking was a symptom. I was medicating a life I didn't want to live sober. Pascal nailed it centuries ago. All of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit in a room alone. The escape artist can't sit still, can't be present, can't tolerate silence long enough to hear what it's saying. So he runs to the pub, to the party, to the noise. Why it has to die? Because you cannot build a body while poisoning it. but deeper, you cannot build a life while running from it. Every escape is a vote against your future self. Every blackout night is a withdrawal from the trust account you're building for your future self. Another Hormozi quote that gives me chills. You don't become confident by shouting affirmations in the mirror, but by having a stack of undeniable proof that you are who you say you are. The escape artist keeps you in a holding pattern, disciplined enough to feel productive, reckless enough to never actually change. Not failing, not succeeding, just maintaining. He steals years from you quietly, weekend by weekend, hangover by hangover. You'll wake up at 40 with the same physique, feeling worse. Same habits, same permission slip, and still calling it balance. So what replaces it? Presence, the ability to feel without escaping. You sit in boredom without treating it like an emergency. You experience Friday night sober and realize you're not missing anything. You're just afraid of what you'd find in silence. The first sober Friday, I sat in my flat at 8 p.m. No plans, no distractions, just silence. The discomfort was physical. Every cell screamed, do something. Order food, call someone, watch something. I fought that feeling. I had some tea, listened to the silence. And after 20 minutes, the screaming went away. And I realized, this is fine. This is enough. I don't need to escape from this. What replaced the escape artist is a man who doesn't need to recover from his weekends, whose Saturdays are a continuation, not damage control, who wakes up Sunday with clarity instead of regret. The escape artist whispers, you lose your friends, you'll become boring. But here's what happens. You lose the friends who only wanted a drinking partner. You gain energy, clarity, and self-respect. You discover boredom was never the enemy. It was a signal you kept numbing instead of hearing. Presence doesn't feel like fireworks. It feels like peace. And peace builds a far better physique than chaos ever did. Presence retrains your nervous system to tolerate boredom, hunger, and delayed gratification, shifting dopamine from craving stimulation to rewarding completion and consistency. Once discomfort stops feeling like an emergency, you've mastered what Epictetus taught. No great thing is created suddenly. Every goal worth achieving, the body, the business, the relationships, the wealth, requires months or years of unrewarded work. And most people can't tolerate the gap. But you've learned to live there. This leads me to Identity Kill 3. The Negotiator. How it shows up? The Negotiator treats transformation like a temporary visa instead of permanent relocation. He's always planning to go back. 12 weeks of suffering, hit the macros, do the cardio, get lean enough for the photos, then return to normal. Takeaways, pints with the boys, late nights, no tracking, back to who you were. The Negotiator thinks discipline is a toll booth. Pay the price, pass through, get on with life. He doesn't understand it's a new address. A place you move to and never leave. The pattern. Start every phase already planning the exit. Just 8 more weeks and I can chill. Once I hit the body fat, I can chill. One bad meal becomes a written off day. One missed session becomes a written off week. I'll start fresh Monday. The self-sabotage isn't weakness, it's strategy. Every cheat meal is evidence he hasn't fully committed. Every slip is a door left unlocked to his old life, just in case. If he never fully leaves, he can always go back. The lie it tells. You can get the body without permanently being someone else. Suffer now, relax later. Get shredded, then go back to who you were. You can't, because the body isn't the achievement. The body is the receipt. Prove you became someone who makes certain choices, holds a certain standard, lives a certain way. That someone doesn't exist occasionally. There is no after. No finish line where you collect abs and return to comfort. Only who you are now, today. This meal, this choice. Repeat it until it becomes your permanent identity. The Negotiator wants transformation to become an event. It's not, it's relocation. You don't visit six-pack heaven, you move there. The Negotiator keeps packing suitcases, keeps paying for return flights, keeps telling himself he's just visiting discipline. That eventually he'll go back home to comfort. But there's no going back. The old address doesn't exist anymore. You're not on vacation from your old life. Why he has to die? Because the Negotiator is why a decade has passed with nothing to show. 10 years of starting Monday. 10 years of almost discipline. 10 years of attempts doomed from day one. Because you never burned the boats. What does burning the boats actually look like? I avoided places that served drinks, social events that were misaligned with my goals, deleted food apps, got a training partner to keep me accountable. Not I'll try, I'll do my best. Just this is who I am now. No exit. You cannot transform while keeping the escape route open. You can't build a new identity while refusing to bury the old one. The negotiator keeps you in limbo, not committed enough to change, not honest enough to quit, stuck in the middle, trying and failing, wondering why nothing works. It's not that you can't do it, it's that you haven't decided. Every negotiation is a vote for the old you. Every just once is proof you haven't really left. Sounds extreme? You don't earn balance by wanting it. You earn it by proving you can sustain discipline without it. Balance is the reward for people who no longer need it. Think about it. Someone who's never followed through for more than 2 weeks has a very different definition of balance than someone who's locked in for 6 months. The first person thinks balance is cheat days. The second knows it's sustainable intensity. Proof changes identity, and identity determines what balance even means to you. The negotiator is the #1 killer of goals. Not lack of information, not bad genetics, the negotiation itself. The bargaining, the constant escape clause you write into every commitment. You can't negotiate your way to a new body. You have to become someone who doesn't negotiate anymore. Finally, the old you is not on pause. Dead, no backup plan, no exit. You stop asking how long do I have to do this and start asking who do I have to become forever. When you're renting discipline, every hard choice feels like sacrifice, something given up temporarily for future reward. When you own it, the hard choice stops feeling like sacrifice. They feel like you, the way you live, non-negotiable. You don't resist the 2 a.m. kebab because you're disciplined. You don't eat it because that's not who you are anymore. Nothing to negotiate, already decided. Not I'm trying to eat better, just I don't eat that. Not I'm working on my fitness, but I train. No conditions, no timeline, no exit clause. Just this is who I am now. Why this works? When you flood your brain with cheap dopamine hits, alcohol, hyperpalatable food, endless scrolling, your brain compensates by becoming less sensitive. Dopamine receptors down-regulate. Your brain removes them to keep things balanced. You need more stimulation to feel the same reward. That's not weakness, that's neuroadaptation. Alcohol makes it worse. Research shows while drinking initially boosts dopamine by 200%, chronic use causes your brain to produce less of it, dropping below baseline within 24 hours of stopping. Fewer receptors, lower baseline. You need more alcohol to feel normal, and without it, your mood plummets. Meanwhile, doing hard things does the exact opposite. Endorphins, serotonin, dopamine released through exercise work on the same brain pathways as powerful drugs without destroying you. The people who make fitness a lifestyle and stay in shape year-round don't have more willpower. They've just rewired their reward system. They've just killed the identities that have kept them dependent on external stimulation and built new ones that generate their own. Oh, you work in the fitness industry, it's obviously easier and more convenient to make this habitual. I would deeply question where that belief originates from. This tweet from Elon capitalizes this perfectly. Change the programs that someone else put in your mind. That's what these 3 identities are. Programs. Installed by past pain, social conditioning, and habits repeated so many times, they become who you think you are. But programs can be deleted and new ones can be written. I work with founders, CEOs, actors, lawyers, people with no time. They have every excuse not to train, yet they never miss. Because they've learned something most people spend their whole lives ignoring. The mind can only perform as well as the body allows. Train hard, the neural chemistry shifts. Suddenly you want the good food. The good food fuels the body to actually perform. The response makes you want to train harder. The cycle builds. Momentum becomes identity. And somewhere in that loop, a thought arrives you've never had before. Anything is possible. The business you've always wanted to start. The partner who actually matches your values. The body that performs as well as it looks. But you wouldn't know that. You've been poisoned to believe that mediocrity is normal. That feeling average is just how life feels. That fog in your head is just adulthood. It's not. You've just never felt what a clean system can do. Most people don't know what it feels like to feel good. I've lost friends, the ones who loved the drunk, charismatic, boundaryless version of me. The ones who needed my chaos to feel better about their own. They didn't understand why I changed. They didn't want to. I stopped being fun. Stopped being available. Stopped being the guy who says yes to everything and regrets later. And I've never been more at peace. The body is real. The physique I've chased for years, dreamt about, visualized, started and abandoned 100 times. It exists now. I live in it. I feel what it's capable of. But that's not the transformation. The transformation is trusting myself, knowing that when I say I'll do something, I'll do it. Knowing I can sit in discomfort without running. Knowing I don't need to escape my life because I finally built one worth staying in. Once you've killed 3 versions of yourself to become one, everything else feels manageable. Inconveniences feel small. Hard conversations feel obvious. Rejection isn't failure, it's filtering. Not everyone is meant to resonate with you. And that's not a flaw, it's reality. Different frequencies don't align. If everyone agreed with you, one of 2 things would be true. You're playing it safe or you're surrounded by liars. Because you've already done the hardest thing, buried who you used to be. The validation addict is dead. You don't need approval anymore. The escape artist is dead. You don't need to run anymore. The negotiator is dead. You don't need an exit anymore. What's left is just you, whole, present, free. It's not loud on the other side, not exciting, not fireworks and applause and constant validation. It's quiet, and quiet turns out is what peace sounds like. Here's what I didn't expect. The body was just the beginning. You've watched this far because something resonated. One of these identities are running your life. So here's what to do now. This week, identify which identity is the loudest in you. The validation addict, the negotiator, or the escape artist. For the next week, set your phone reminder for journaling at 9 p.m. Write down what situation triggered the identity today. What permission slip did you use? Write the exact words. What would I have done differently if that identity was dead? Don't edit yourself, don't judge, just observe and write. And ask yourself, what would I have done if that identity was already dead? Then do that thing. Not next Monday, now. The body is the receipt. The death is the work. So start dying. If you found value in what I shared today, please subscribe. This is a new channel and check out the other video I made here. Thank you.